I'll just start off on the top. We're going to talk about this Dr. Lupo scandal, which honestly, to me, I don't find it that big of a scandal. I don't really care what he did do. I understand why people would be mad and angry at it, but honestly, I don't think you should feel that upset about it. So let's get into it. All right, so for those that watch streamers, love streamers, I'm not a guy that sits there and watches streamers, you know, all day. I can't do that. When I'm at work, I might have one on in the background just to have noise through my headphones to, I know it sounds weird, but to basically cancel out the noise in the office. So I'm just hearing basically what's going on around me and I focus in. But for the most part, I don't I don't sit at home watching streamers. I don't waste, hours and hours doing that. Um, my attention span, one, would not allow that because I would just get bored after a while, and two, I can just do other things. So if you're not into streamers, you're probably lost on this, which honestly, just stay lost on it. It's probably better for you. Um, so Dr. Lupo, who for years was a big Twitch streamer, went over to YouTube for a couple years ago, and now does on I think it's multicasting where he cast on Twitch and YouTube. He's kind of a prickly dude. You either like it or you don't. I mean, that's just how it is. You either like his attitude or you don't, and that comes with any streamer you really watch or get into. He does a lot of good things. Like he does a charity event for I'm gonna get it wrong, but he does a charity event for the children's hospital. Um, Raises big money for it every year. He does it. St. Jude. There we go. I want to say St. Lou for some reason, but St. Jude. Um, so his head's in the right spot the majority of the time. Um, so kind of explain what happened. He was in a charity chess tournament and he's playing online against top chess players, I guess in the world. Maybe I'm not exactly sure. And he was playing I think a top 150 chess player. And there was some things going on in the game where, like, it started off where he was making a lot of bad moves, and then all of a sudden he takes over the game, makes basically almost perfect moves to checkmate his opponent, wins that round, and moves on. And I think after the game, while he was still live broadcasting, there were people that were claiming that he was cheating. They were saying that he was looking at a screen to his left, and they were claiming that he had people coming into his chat and were like, basically telling him what this other individual has like habits of doing or instincts of doing, or might even, if the guy was streaming, might have even been, putting it out there what he was going to do. I'm not exactly sure on that. Others think that he was using some sort of cheat engine, that he wasn't actually making these moves, that it was the cheat software that was. So either way, he hardcore denied it, and then I think it was either later that night or this morning, he admitted he had been cheating and that he pulled himself from the tournament, apologized to that charity, apologized to the host and to all the other players, and basically admitted to to cheating. So he went on his stream today, and let's see how this looks. It'll be fine. And basically got into
Performing on the
or
biggest stage
gave
in the world.
his explanation as to what happened.
because first we're going to start today talking about Paw Champs. So if you didn't see, I posted on Twitter about it, and there's a couple things to clarify. A lot of it, whether you believe me or not, is fine. I get it. But I lied to you yesterday. I cheated against Wolf. He's a better player than me. And that second game, obviously 26 moves in a row. Yeah, I cheated. I was thinking about this morning. Also, I just want to clarify. I apologize if I look like I've been beat to hell and sleep last night. That's not to build sympathy or pity or anything like that. That's just the situation. So the reason I brought it up is if I ramble, it's because I didn't sleep much. What ended up happening? I betrayed the trust of the chess community. I betrayed the trust of my chat. And I lied directly to Wolf. And so if for some reason you see this, I'm sorry. I got caught in a fight or flight moment and panicked and doubled down. The reason I'm saying this stuff is not because I'm like, I don't want sympathy. I don't need that. Actually, if anything, I told mods to not censor anything in chats today because it's the only. I mean, I deserve it. I do. I absolutely deserve it. I fucked up. I fucked up and hurt people that were probably pretty excited to have a big creator in their space. At least used to be big. I've loved chess for a really long time, played when I was in middle school and high school, and I am appalled and embarrassed. It's funny too, because I'm the Tarkov guy that's always very anti-cheater, right? And then of course it's the person that's so loud and vocal about it that turns around and ends up doing it. And it sucks. I don't have like I want to make sure it's clear too. I don't have like a script or anything. This is mostly just me talking off the top of my head because I wanted to make sure that you understood I'm not trying to I didn't chat GPT or pre-write something. I thought a lot about it.
So we're in a new realm now, which is interesting because before social media, before YouTubes or whatever, when people were caught in scandals or lies, Hollywood, politicians, whatever, they would always go on TV to do their thing. And sometimes they're reading from a prepared statement, which some still do today. Other times they sit with across from some sort of news anchor or talk show host, or they would do that. And you could always tell in those circumstances who was actually sorry and who was just doing it to try to keep their career together. Now, I'm not saying that a streamer in this case has to worry about keeping their career together. I mean, because all you're doing is just playing games and making content online. Um, I mean, it's a job, but it's kind of a self-employed job. So, I mean, he's not hurting an entity here. He's more hurting himself. I to say the one thing that I will say about this God, that's a horrible freeze frame to put on it. I just now noticed that. They come out and say the whole flight or fight, and he panicked and decided to cheat. Chess is really that heavy on your mind that you felt you panicked and had to cheat. Hey, look, I mean, I get it's a charity event. There's money online. There's money on the line and all this stuff like that. But at the same time, he's a millionaire. I mean, this guy's a multimillionaire. So he's not hurting. Excuse me. He's not hurting from money. If I'm in that zone, as far as I have a comfortable life. If I'm doing these charity events or money events, I'm just gonna have fun with them, even if it's something I don't really know about. I'm gonna be there because maybe I bring more eyes to this particular product or this particular charity to get more people to, put money in or to do in. I'm not worried about the prize fund. In fact, if I was to win a prize fund of like 20, 30 grand, and I am already very comfortable in my life. And maybe that's just me. Maybe other people would keep it, but to me, I think I would give the rest of those winnings either to the charity or to another charity. So I don't buy his he panicked. That's a horrible excuse, and that was probably something that he should have thought through before he said that. Because the fight or flight is not something that you do when you're going into a charity game. I mean, if you look and you realize, holy crap, I'm playing against a top chess player, you just have to understand, hey, I'm not winning this round, but let's have some fun with it and let's just go with it. It's not, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? Cheat because I panicked. That's horrible excuse. That just that doesn't look good. Um, um, yeah. I mean, you can obviously tell he's speaking from the heart, but I don't think he's using his head, is what I could say. It's like, and it's not like I'm saying that he's trying to lie or that he's trying to cover up something. It's just sometimes when you're caught in an emotional state, you tend to more speak from your heart, and your brain just kind of, like with Homer when his brain was like, "All right, I'm out," and leaves, takes a back step and just lets your mouth just go. When really your brain should be in there going, "Okay, let's talk about this. Let's cover this. Let's stay away from these words. Focus on what we got to do. We can give the truth. We can try to be as honest as possible for what people expect." But yeah, this here is, yeah, you can definitely tell this was eating him up all night because he's just his brain just checked out on what he's talking about here.
About what to say, but I didn't want to write anything because I want to make sure that you understood that I was being genuine. I recognize too that by betraying your trust, because I lied to you guys too. The people that watch me, obviously, there's going to be people that are going to be flowing in and saying all sorts of stuff all day. I deserve it. It's fine. Let it go. You don't. Nobody that watches me has to defend. I'm a 38-year-old man, and of all the places to do what I did it in a tournament for a game that I very much enjoy.
Now that last minute or so, that actually seemed genuine. Like with his body language, with what he was saying, that all that seemed genuine. With him saying that he betrayed the trust of his followers, or the trust of people that believe in him, the people that watched him. That he deserves what he's getting. That part of, from the first part of this to that last 30 to 60 seconds, this seemed more legit and more from, like, maybe his brain finally kicked in at that point and was like, okay, I'm here now, because maybe he had adrenaline running, but it seemed like something clicked over at that point, and it seems like he's being more honest, I guess you could say, or more. He's figured out what he should be saying instead of just blabbering off like he did the first minute or so.
And it was dumb as fuck, man.
Regret setting in.
So yeah, I'm sorry for that. Now, to guarantee that it won't happen again, that part was to cover bases with you guys, and hopefully, there's the thing is, I know there's going to be people that don't believe one way or another, that are still they're gonna name, dude. My Twitter mentions are on fire. They deserve to be. They absolutely deserve to be, without a doubt.
And this is where, again, social media is so stupid. He shouldn't even be worrying about people on social media. The majority of people on social media are brain damaged. And I'm not talking about specifically just with YouTube. I'm talking about all of social media. There is like a proven fact that people that are recovering from brain injuries, when they're in the recovery space, uh, just are on phones and they're just basically tweeting or on social media the whole time. Um, so just understand that, like, if you're arguing with somebody online, it's probably somebody who has brain damage and is sitting in a recovery center somewhere, or somebody in somebody's basement that is just not all together there. So for him to be worried about what people are online saying, I get that's his world, but again, at being 38 years old, my man, just turn your comments off. Stay away from Twitter for a week or two. Um, take your ads off, whatever. Put it on pause for your own sanity. To me personally, I would not be um on any social media, even if I was as big of a streamer as he would. I would probably have somebody doing it, and I would only have them just promote my stream or promote like different charity events I'm doing, and then I wouldn't care anything else that's going on there. 38 years old, you don't need to be worrying about what Tom, Dick, Joe, Sarah, Karen, and Sally are saying online. It's online is such a small part of the actual world, and the majority of the world probably doesn't even know what a streamer really does and what and who Dr. Lupo is. So don't he really shouldn't be living and worried about people he doesn't know.
Um, I did something so fucking stupid. Um, anyway, that's for you guys. This part is for me, and the reason I'm going to say it on stream is not to give like a an excuse. There's no excuse, but I know why, and I want to say it on stream because for a while I was going to a therapist, and then that kind of fell through because the guy that I was talking to didn't really line up super well, and I never bothered to go find another one. And one of the things that he and I had been talking about that I very clearly need to go back and talk to someone else about, and this will all make sense in a second if you've watched me for more than 5 seconds. If you're in here just to like take the shots, I get it. Please fire away. Like I said, I deserve it. Um, but I have a very, very fragile ego. I've often wondered whether or not I was cut out for this job because I'm a super sensitive guy. I for whatever reason take things that people say, strangers say to heart. And again, this is not justification. This is not an excuse. I fully own that I'm the one that made the choice and fucked up yesterday, 100%. And I understand there's going to be ramifications for that. I get it, and I'm gonna.
Um, so here's a problem I have with this, and it's not boohooing people with um psychological issues, people with mental illnesses, people with mental issues, people that need to talk to therapists. I get that. I totally do. I respect it. I don't always understand it because I sometimes don't think that actual therapists are doing anything for the person. Because as he said, he's going to go on his third one now. Um, to me, I think if you know the source of your problem and you're not trying to cover over because some people ignore the the source of the problem. If you know, like he says, he has a shallow or bad ego, then you need to find a way to repair that yourself, especially if you're saying that the professionals you're going to are not helping you or not doing anything. Either, yeah, they're bad professionals or you're not allowing that help to be there, which means you really need to focus on yourself. And if your ego is that bad, um, but your face is always on social media, I I feel like that was a cop out, and I'm not. hating on Lupo. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, but this just comes this to me when you start blaming, oh, I have, this issue that I'm seeing a therapist for, and my ego is really bad, and I take what people say to the heart. And hey, there's millions of people in this world that take what people say to heart, either family members, friends, or even strangers. But they get along in life, and they don't do things as far as stealing. They don't do things as far as murder. They don't do any of that stuff. They progress in life. I'm a person. Um, do I have an ego? Yeah, everybody has an ego. I mean, it's not overly ridiculous. I tend to ignore situations more than just deal with them because the majority of the time the person's a moron. Um, and I don't care. Like I've said in previous podcasts, I don't care what people think about me. I just don't. It's not anything that I worry about. Not saying that I do things stupidly and act certain ways. I don't know. I'm a proper individual. Sure, are there things that people would bring up and like, dude, like you got to check yourself on that? Probably, and yeah, I would agree. Um, but that's just who I am. But I'm not gonna sit there and blame an ego this or I've got, some mental turbulence that or this or that to try to normalize or stabilize the situation. Um, it's great that he's talking about it, not taking that away from him. It's great that he's expressing, personal things that he has. It takes a lot of courage to do that. But this particular point, I don't think was the correct time to do that. That could be held for another time down the line. What should have been done in this particular thing is, you know what? I was cheating. This is what I did to cheat. It was stupid. I'm an idiot. Like he's been saying, let them say whatever they want. I deserve it. And maybe to some level he doesn't deserve everything that people are saying about him because some people will come in super harsh. But he's doing the right things as far as that. I would have left it at that. Would have basically just been, this doesn't define who I am, but I understand that it's a shot against my character, and I understand that, and just deal with this. I'm going to be dealing with this for the rest of the time that I'm a streamer. I wouldn't have gone explaining the mental problems that he's having or the psychological or whatever it might be in this because again, it just seems like you're using that as a crutch. That's something you might want to bring up in another video, and maybe not do it live. I respect him for doing this live and do it where you're talking to not a live audience. You're just sitting there in your own thoughts. You're talking, you're explaining and going, look, this is what I've come, and you don't even have to bring up the cheating aspect from the week or two before. You can just say, look, these are the issues that I've had. I'm dealing with them. I'm trying to move on with my life, and so and so and so and so. In this aspect, it seems like an excuse, and I could be wrong on that. There's some people might say, well, you don't understand because, and you might have a point, but I don't think this was the best time to explain this side of things, but we'll let him.
I'm gonna I'm gonna face that shit head on because I think it's the only way to actually handle mistakes because I made a really big, really stupid one in front of thousands of people, and fight or flight hit. I panicked and tried to lie, and man, that was dumb as fuck too. Um, yeah. Anyway, so for a long time,
Um,
like I said,
I want to go back to this where he's like, he said,
this is not an excuse. I fully own that I'm the one that made the choice and fucked up yesterday, 100%. And I understand there's going to be ramifications for that. I get it, and I'm gonna face that shit head on because I think it's the only way to actually handle mistakes because I made a really big, really stupid one in front of thousands of people, and
why does it matter in front of thousands of people? Um, that again, that's probably where the brain shut down. It doesn't matter. Why would I put a number on it? It should be I was an idiot. I did something stupid. I cheated in this thing. Leave it at that. You don't have I cheated in front of thousands of people. It doesn't matter how many people you cheated in front of. It's an ethics issue. It's not how many people saw it. It's you were fine with cheating and also lying until it was caught. It doesn't matter if there was one person watching. It doesn't matter if there were a million people watching. To bring that up again, I think that's where the brain probably shut down and maybe where his adrenaline was kicking in. That's a weird drop. That's just a weird spot to put that in.
And fight or flight hit. I panicked and tried to lie, and man, that was dumb as fuck too. Um, yeah. Anyway, so for a long time, like I said, I had been seeing a therapist. I one of the things that I have tried to work on, or I tried to work on with him, and like I said, I need to find a new one. Is the fragility of my ego. You can see it in previous streams too, where people, in fact, when Marathon came out and a friend was doing a 24-hour stream, commentary about how I looked, which I know that I shouldn't take to heart, got to me. Um, and I raised my voice at a friend that didn't do anything. And I shouldn't have done that. And I recognize that it's because
Um, again, look, I respect him for talking about, his personal issues that he's going through. He doesn't have to, and he's doing it. That's respectful. I applaud him on that. But what does that have to do? What does you yelling at a friend from mentioning how you look because it affects your ego have to do with the cheating? Cheating, I can see how it's intertwined with ego. Um, I mean, a good case of that is Barry Bonds. His ego, he was annoyed that Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa were getting all his attention, and he was. I mean, is that ego or is that pride, or is it both? I don't know. Um, I think he just got off topic on here. I think his heart was in a good place trying to like explain the situation, but it seems like it just started deviating from where it needed to go again. I would have just stuck with talking about the cheating, talking, apologizing to everybody there, saying it was dumb, I deserve this, da 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 da. Explain that situation, keep it 5 minutes at tops, going into it, getting on with the day, doing his stream. I think he only went, as it looks on here, like he only went about 5 hours. And then calling it a day. And then in like a week or two, putting a video out, like, most of them do, and then explaining like some of the personal stuff you're going through. Um, yeah, it's a weird spot to be talking about that stuff, and maybe it's one of those things where it's just everything came to a head, and now he's overanalyzing everything that he's done in the last week or two, and it's just all coming out. It could be one of those situations, which is understandable as well.
I, for whatever reason, and obviously, like I said, need to talk to somebody about it. Um, I let commentary from strangers impact me in a way that results in me doing things that I would not expect of myself, but very obviously are part of me because I'm the one that did them. In that case, raising a voice, it's happened. That has happened with other people that I respect, and there have been repercussions from that, and that sucks. But I deserve them. And in this case, I let stuff from chat from between previous games infest my mind, and I made the choice to do what I did, and it sucks. It sucks. I know that there's gonna be people that feel
Um, to me, this seems less of an ego problem than it seems like a confidence problem. I've watched Dr. Lupo from time to time. Again, like when I'm at work, I'll have just different streams on in the background, and he's a prickly guy. Um, you'll have days where he seems like he's in a good mood. And that's one of those things when you're online, when you're putting your stuff online for hours at a time, day after day after day, you're going to get different versions of that individual. You're going to get the good days, you're going to get the bad days, happy, sad, whatever. So you're going to get different versions of him. And it's one of those things where you notice like on his good days, he's a fun, charismatic guy. He's having fun with his friends. And then there's times where, yeah, he's just like a straight dick. And it's like even straight to chat, like just go off on people. But I've seen that with a lot of streamers. Like he's not the only one. I've seen a lot of streamers that do that, that they'll just have a day or two where any person that comes in the stream and says something, and it could be innocent. It could be just, hey, why are you wearing that blue shirt? And that streamer just unloads on them. And then like we'll either ban him from the chat or do whatever. Um, and to me, if you're at that point and you don't recognize that situation with yourself, where holy crap, I really need to refocus myself on things, because you have mods for these situations. And if people that don't know, mods are in the different chats. You can give certain people powers to either ban people from your chat or remove um, um, a sentence or a phrase or whatever they might say in chat. And it's one of those things where you have to let your moderators handle that stuff. And if you have good ones, they're going to do their job correctly. If you have ones that aren't really doing their job, then yeah, you might have to do it more than what so. But like everybody has at times issues with their friends and family. That's just life, right? And sometimes you say things that you regret, but in the end, you learn from it, and it never happens again. There's there's many times with him where yeah, he's very very much an a-hole to his friends and his stuff, and it's I think some of them take it because he is a big time content creator. He averages 1,000, 2,000, or more people watching him an hour. And the other ones that he might work with, I wouldn't say they're using him, but they're his friends, and they know that they're going to get a overflow of some of these people that are watching him come over and watch their stream because they want to see who he's streaming with. And yeah, there's just times where he's been just straight dicks, and there's been some of the things that he's talked about in his streams and brought up with them and said things about them where it's just like, I mean, and he'll play it off as a joke, but it's like, okay, but I mean, this more sounds like a confidence thing than it does ego. Ego is, yeah, I'm the shit, I'm this, whatever, I don't never do anything wrong. And then if you cheat, you still, oh no, man, da da da. This seems more like a confidence where he went into that chess match going, oh crap, I can't do this. This is I'm failing myself. I'm failing everybody, and that's why I don't. I mean, maybe confidence and ego go one and one, but to me they're slightly different. So maybe it's just a confidence factor, not actually an ego issue with him. I think the ego stuff is where he's going in, talking about how he's being dicks to his friends and to maybe other creators. I can see the ego in that, but I think it's more confidence than it is an ego situation.
Betrayed, that they put their trust in someone. Believe me, I have been there, which makes it even worse because I know what it's like to put your trust in a person you look up to, and they betray said trust. And I did that to a lot of people. Um, yeah, I'm not asking for forgiveness. There's going to be people that don't. Um, I'm not asking for you to listen. The internet's gonna say what they're gonna say. I deserve it. I do. Lay it on, please. Because honestly, it's the only way. Me putting this out in a permanent place in the internet, I think, is the only way that if I hope to do something that if I hope to do something about it, then this is the way to do it. Right? Getting exposure to the people in chat, people on Twitter. I read it all, man. Um, even against the best
See, like, why are you doing it to yourself, though? Why, you know what people are going to be saying? Why go online? That's just beating yourself up more than you should have. I don't understand that aspect. That's like seeing a brick wall and you're driving towards it and you know you're going to hit it. Instead of braking, you're just like, ah, fuck it, and just run right into it. I don't get that when you can just easily go around it. You didn't have to do this. Um, why would you want to do that? I worry about an individual that wants to go and see negative things being said about themselves. Yeah, social media is wild.
Best wishes of people that care about me, um, because I think putting that in front of me, it's not gonna get a good framework for the impact of me doing what I did unless I see it directly, right? So, um, I also recognize fully that there's going to be people that are like, well, he cheated in a game of chess. He's probably cheating at Tarkov. He's probably cheating at XYZ thing, and that's fine.
Yeah, you're not going to change those people. There's been plenty of streamers out there that were banned from games or were temporarily banned from games, and then later found out that they weren't cheating, but that's already been put out there, and it's just going to be you're just going to be suspected of it from that point. I mean, honestly, you have people that say, well, no streamers cheat, and you have people that say that all streamers cheat. So uh, you can't handle or you can't um, control the narrative on that. And I think he recognizes that, and that's why at some point, I think at the end of this, I think he just goes, whatever, I can't do anything about it. That's just how it is. He deserves it. I don't think he deserves it, but it's one of those things that you just can't control and you just have to accept. That's just, again, people are going to say what they want to say, true or not.
Yeah, in the YouTube chat, how do we know he hasn't been cheating at everything? You don't.
There you go.
I understand that. You don't. You don't. Um, yeah. There's no way actually for me. You're 100% right. There's no way for me to prove otherwise to you, and I understand that. Not like I said. I know some people are gonna say it. I'm not a victim. The people that are victims are people um, that trusted me. That Wolf, Daniel, Danny Ranch. Big, very very sorry to him, um, and everybody at chess.com. Like I said, dude, it's about taking accountability, and a creator of my size.
So, I mean, he goes on. It's just more about basically the same stuff he says. Somebody brings up the whole doctor disrespect, cheating on his wife, and how is this different? Hey man, look, I'm not want to get into anybody's personal lives, um, cheating on wives or girlfriends. Um, I'm not gonna judge anybody on that. I think it's a bad taste. I think it's horrible if you do that. If you're betraying the love and trust of somebody, especially if they love and trust you. But hey, man, I've been in a relationship where the person was lying, and it's one of those things where it's just like I don't do relationships anymore because that's just one thing. It's just I don't know if I could trust anybody at that aspect of it. And that's where he goes in. You're gonna have people that aren't gonna believe that he's not cheating in anything anymore. But cheating in video games, but then cheating on your significant other in real life are two different things. And you can say, well, the money and this, it's still integrity, the same thing as it is with your wife. Is it though? I mean, yeah, he was cheating and could have possibly made some money um out of this charity contest that maybe he didn't deserve, but he wasn't hurting anybody else in that situation. Um, he was just taking advantage of the circumstances that were put around him. Whereas if like you're cheating on your significant other, you're hurting, one, the person you're cheating on, two, possibly even your kids, your whole family, that dynamic, and you're putting yourself in a situation that's just drama that you don't need. This will pass. This little scandal, by next week, something else will come along and we'll forgot about it. Will somebody every now and then bring it up? Of course. Somebody will take their dig, somebody will take their dive. That's just life, and it's just what it is. And at some point, it'll just come to a point where people laugh at it. Um, so to try to compare it to that is interesting. The other thing too is it's like we'll get to the comments in a minute. There's a lot of people that came in, Doctor Disrespect fans, and that were really giving it to Lupo because Lupo really went after Doctor Disrespect after that thing with the messaging the minor, that Doctor Disrespect got caught up in, and we're like really like giving it to him. And I'll say this, man, if you're gonna defend somebody or try to champion somebody who was sexually messaging a minor and try to compare it in this situation or try to make it seem like that was a better situation than this, your your view of life is seriously jaded. I mean, you're looking at the world at a 1 foot level, and you're not seeing anything except what's around you, and that's pretty sad. Um, yeah. So for the individuals that try to put them down and defend that situation, that just blows my mind. If you want to come after him and give him crap for cheating, hey, it's like you said, it's open season. He's fine. It is what it is. But to try to compare the situation to texting a minor is amazingly wild. I don't know some of them might just be straight up trolls. Let's be honest. Some of them just might be trolls that just like to come in there and cause drama. But you do have the individuals that honestly stand up for individuals like that. I was never a real Doctor Disrespect guy. I would watch it from time to time. The scandal thing just kind of made me go, I'm not. That's yeah. He can live in his world. That's fine. I don't think that you should take the ability away from him for making money. It is what it is, and if people still want to pay to be a member and everything, totally fine with that. That's your thing. That's how you want to do. The second thing I'll say on that is, I always found it weird, still do, when people donate hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to these streamers, particularly these larger ones that are already multimillionaires. They've made their money. They're doing well, and I get it, man. People can blow money. People can waste money. People, and they might need that money coming in. But I found it, and still do find it weird, when you're giving all this money to an individual when you don't really know who they are. You're only seeing a small portion of who these individuals actually are. You're not seeing the whole thing, and that's the illusion of being a streamer, being a content creator. You're only getting the part of what they want you to see. You're not actually seeing who they really are, and they might come across authentic. They might come across saying, "This is how I am. I stand on all 10 toes with respect. This is how I do it." And then you find out later that that's not really the case. So if you want to give them hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're not worried about it, you're not worried about any kind of scandal or this or that might come up, then hey, that's good on you. Personally, I think if you're willing to drop $500 on a person who's already a multimillionaire, why not go find a smaller streamer that is either just starting out or is only having maybe only has 29, 30 followers, maybe only have 29, 30 people in chat. Why don't you go drop the 500 on them? It would mean so much more to them than it does to these big time guys. I mean, they're getting paid for sponsor streams. They're getting paid to go do meet and greets for these different gaming things. They're getting paid to play video games. They are fine, okay? they're not going to be hurting for money. Why don't you, specifically to these big time people that drop hundreds of thousands of dollars on these big time streamers, why don't you go find a smaller streamer that nobody's paying attention to, that maybe is close to their big break or just needs a little help, and put that money on them? Because you're putting $500 in their pocket that they could actually use. Maybe they need it for bills. Maybe they could use that to upgrade their system around them to help them, be more productive and be better on the streams. So if you're honestly willing to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on these big time streamers, understand that it might come back to bite you, and it might come back to where you go, damn, I spent all this time wasting this money on this person, and I never really knew who they were. Um, have I donated to streams before? Yeah. And it's always been smaller, small time streamers. I think the largest um streamer that I've had gifted subs given to me just because, like I said, I'd be watching for so long that I'd get caught up and I'd be gifted a sub. Um, was Stat, a guy? His name was, it looked like Five Tat, but he went as Stat. I was a member in his for a while. Um, I think Tend to Tap Man, I still might be one in his just because I don't have to deal with commercials. It's not. It's only the membership, which is like what, $6 a month. But like the most that I would ever might donate is maybe $20 to somebody, and it's always been a small time streamer. I would never spend more than $20 on a large time streamer. It's just, again, to me, in my mind, why are you giving money to somebody who's already set? Why not use that towards an individual that could actually use the circumstance? So let's get into these comments. We can see what people said. So the first one, using mental health issue as an excuse to cheat is such a weird angle. Again, that's kind of like what I was saying. That is again, that's something that I wouldn't have used in the first go around. I would have, honestly, if I'm Lupo right now, I'm taking a week off. Just to take a week off, let other things happen, get my mind straight, get it set. And then during that time, then I would put a video out going, look, I've been going through some things. I haven't been great to my friends. I haven't been great to maybe even his family at times. Who knows? I'm not going to put that out like he's actually not good to his family, but maybe there's something there. And explaining that. Um, to do it in this, yeah, it definitely is. It's a weird approach. It's I'm not damning the guy for it, but it's a weird approach. If you cheated during a charity event, it's a good chance you cheated in games or in life somewhere else. That I think is kind of, you're just throwing a fishing net out in the water and trying to catch things that might not actually be there. Look, man, when I was a kid, and you can say, well, that was when you were a kid, you grew up and you didn't do it anymore. But I stole from a store once. Stole a little stupid ass toy when I was like 10, 11 years old because my mom didn't want to get it for me, and I was like, oh, you know what, in the pocket. Um, but I didn't grow up stealing anymore. I didn't grow up in other aspects of life stealing from things. It was something I ended up being caught by my mom later because I had pulled it out to show my friends, and she was like, "Wait a minute," and it's not something. It's not something that I think you can encompass that entire thing in. If it was something like where he was like he plays first person shooter games, if it's something like he was in one of those and was caught cheating, then yeah, you could sit there and go, whoa, 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 wait a minute. All you do is play first person shooters. How do we know you're not cheating and all this stuff? I get that, but in this aspect where it's with the game, it's with chess, dude. I mean, let's be honest here. It's stupid to try to cheat at chess, but it's not the end of the world when it comes to things that are being cheated on in gaming. Let's be real. It's not. This is like such a minute issue in the world and in gaming than what's really going on in the actual world and then even in the gaming world. So that I think is kind of just painting a broad stroke with no levity there. But to each their own. It's not an out of the blue behavior, and using the engine is premeditated. It also took a long time to admit it. If your chat hadn't piled on you nonstop, the admin, the admission might have taken. So, again, could it be out of the blue? Yeah, it could. It could have just been out of the blue that he was cheating on this. Could not have. I mean, we're not ever going to really know. The admission part, that is where your ego comes in. That is an ego to where you're being called out on it, and instead of just going, yeah, I'm an idiot. Yep, take me out of it. I did. You guys are right. To deny. That's the immaturity. That's the ego level. That is the ego. Everything, the cheating aspect is not ego, that's confidence. That's he didn't have the confidence that he was going to beat this guy, so he decided to cheat. The ego is not admitting it. So I think that's where a little bit of the confusion is. What some of these replies are on it. People with mental illnesses wouldn't be too best pleased. I myself suffer with mental health. I find it disgusted. He would use that as an excuse, but I mean, what mental health? Listen, man, we're in a world now where everything is a mental health, and a lot of the times it's not that deep. Like a lot of it is just immaturity. A lot of it is just not understanding things. A lot of it is just bad behavior. So if you're gonna say you have mental health issues, try to explain or expound on that a little bit because not all mental health illnesses are the same. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, a lot of them are bogus. A lot of them are these things that psychologists and different therapists have come up with to keep people coming back to them because that's how they get paid. So you have to explain what your mental health illness is. Otherwise, that again, you're just painting a broad stroke there with a brush. Stop with the cheating once means you always cheated. Nonsense again. Lupo has spoken about mental health many times, so clearly you don't know him. He cares about a lot. There is literally a clip of him trying to save someone who donated. Okay, so but what they're saying is I think this is the first time he's talked about his own mental health issues. Yeah, he might talk about other people's or trying to help people in a situation, which is great. I mean, you should help somebody, especially if they're on the edge. You'll back down from that edge. But I think people are calling him out because to even my knowledge, I don't know if he's ever spoke about his own problems. Which again, everybody has their own problems. Everybody has skeletons in the closet. Everybody has scorpions under the rock. So it's easy to hide behind your phone or by your computer and call somebody out and then not understand or just move on from the situation. It's brain dead by that logic. If you ever cheated in a game of tag or Monopoly as a kid, yeah. See that's what I was saying as far as like with me stealing. Look, sometimes there are people that just do it one game, and I think it really depends on the individual, the circumstance, and what sport aspect or what. Because I mean, you had guys that cheated in Major League Baseball with steroids, but they weren't cheating in other aspects of life. It was just with the steroids trying to be better, and that was the confidence and ego aspect of it. I mean, ask Barry Bonds, ask Mark McGwire. I don't think running to a therapist is a solution or for choosing not to cheat, and that's why it strikes people as weird and stuff. Yeah, see, again, that's where this is where I think he should have just not had a prepared statement, but had something written down where this is what I need to talk about, this is what I don't need to talk about. Hit those points about how cheating's bad, why I shouldn't have done it. I am an a-hole. Give it to me. I'll take it. I deserve everything. Gone on with his stream, done his stream, taken a few days off, put the video out explaining his own personal issues, and done that. So yeah, there's a lot in this. Like I said, I think his heart's in a good spot, but I think unfortunately he was speaking from the heart and he had turned his brain off in a lot of those areas. And that's something you can't do any emotional times like that, because it's like when people get pulled over by cops, and then the next thing you know, they're telling the cop everything about their life, about their life, because their brain is the adrenaline's pumping, and their brain is trying to control all other aspects that's going on in their body, and they just start talking. And it's like the cops just sitting there like, okay, well, I was just going to let you know that your tail light's out. Sometimes you just do too much in these circumstances, and you need to just hit the brake on it, and handle what you can handle. Is it really what he said meant? I think the ego issue explanation was more of an explanation as to why, not an excuse. Being low on money isn't an excuse to steal, but often explains why someone would do it. In this case, he wanted to distinguish between cheating for money and other issues. I think that's the relevant content. So again, this is what I say. It's not. He's getting ego confused with confidence. He cheated because he didn't have confidence in himself. It wasn't the whole ego aspect. He knew going in he was going to lose to this guy. That's not ego. If you have already set in your mind that you're going to lose, that's confidence. That's you not believing in yourself. And he cheated because he has lack of confidence. There was no confidence in that. The ego was after that, trying to deny that he did any of that, was trying to double dog and triple dog down that he didn't. That's the ego aspect. The confidence was the cheating, and I think that's what people need to differentiate: is the confidence that led him to the cheating, and then the ego trying to cover it up. That two different separations that are, or two different separate entities that are in the same universe. Yeah, except we weren't playing for 100K games of Monopoly. He's a cheater. I'm trying to defend him. Curious what games besides he's cheated on, since you seem to know. Not a good chance. It's a certainty. Some lame ass computer dude doesn't all of a sudden just become good at video games. He finally got again. Look, man. There's a large, for people that don't know, there's a large aspect of people who watch gamers, these streamers, that just every streamer cheats. Everybody does, and you're not going to change their mind on that. I know people like that. I know people that are like that, and I understand why they think that way. Because you do have a lot of them that get caught doing it. And there's a lot of aspects that when you watch it, going, well, their game's played differently than the way mine do. Their stuff does this, and mine doesn't. But at the same time, you have some of these guys, they're playing 8 or 12 hours a day. And there's been times where I've been in a game, and it doesn't happen often. It maybe happen like once every 12 games, where I just get locked in. And you would think that I was cheating because I'm just locked in, hitting all my shots, just locking, just da da da. And then of course the next game I'm confident and I'm complete shit again. So I mean, you could just have people that they're just locked in. I mean, it's like people who play sports for a living. Those players are just locked in, and you can't sit there and claim that they're cheating. They were built for that. So you have some that are built for that. Do I think every streamer is cheating? No. Is there a good portion of them? Yeah. And when there's money involved, people are gonna cheat for the money. I mean, it's and again, that's where I go into that aspect. If you're okay with donating 200, 300, $400, you have to be okay with your streamer might be got up in a scandal at some point. Otherwise, don't don't donate that kind of money to them. Um, have I guess not self-respect for yourself, but have a better understanding of the situation. Um, anyways, resorting to cheats that quickly makes me question the guy's regular. Okay, he actually thought he could get away with cheating in chess. Wife, kid, and a lot of money. Runs a charity org, but ego is so big that we resort to cheating instead of again. That didn't have to do with ego. That had to do with confidence. He was not confident that he could beat this guy, so he went to cheating, and the ego came after the confidence. The ego is the denial, and then trying to act like it didn't happen, and then realizing that he couldn't back away from that, and then it just settled in. The confidence is what got to him. Saying you are not afraid to address it after you still weren't admitting the extent of your cheating into hours into stream. Everyone calling you out as wild. Sadly, the way you've handled this means even you finally are owning up it means even once you finally are owning up, it won't mean much to people because you admitted to it once you got caught. Only admitted the extent of it much later, and were defending yourself, lying through your teeth at many points along the way. Again, that's where the ego came in. The lying and the not admitting, that's the ego aspect of it. That's where it came in. Dude cheated and told people he didn't. LMAO. Now he wants to come clean. Now, well, that's how it always happens. You know what? I'm gonna say something here, and this might sound provocative. And I'm not saying that he or anybody who has been caught in these situations. I'm not saying that this is what they're doing. There's an old adage from Hollywood. The only bad press is no press. Meaning in Hollywood, the only time that press is bad is when you're not getting it. Which means that negative press is also good because it keeps your name in the limelight. It keeps your name in the public's mouths and talking about it. After and I'm going to say this mostly just happens with these larger streamers. After they're caught in a scandal, whether it's in the gaming world or in the social media world with other things going on, whenever they get caught up in a scandal, what happens to their numbers after that? It blows up because you now have everybody that wants to come in to see what they're going to say, to see how they're going to explain, to see how they're going to act, or just to see who that person is. And maybe that's what he was. Maybe and Lupo's a smart guy. Maybe he understood that, and that's why he did this live because he knew he'd have a lot of people watching, and that was part of the deal. But I sometimes wonder if these streamers aren't doing this stuff on purpose because they know the bump from the scandal will be bigger than anything. And let's face it, on YouTube, it's about the views. It's about how many eyeballs you get on your product. And maybe the same thing with Twitch. I'm not really sure how Twitch works, but there is a huge bump. I mean, look what happened after Dr. Disrespect. That thing came out with him. He took like a week or two off, and then when he came back, his numbers were huge. He had hundreds of thousands of people watching him in his first few streams back because they wanted to see the circus. They wanted to see the train wreck. They wanted to see what, and he still was averaging about 15,000 people a day watching him on YouTube. I mean, you have to wonder if some of this stuff they're doing on purpose. Again, I'm not saying Lupo did it on purpose. I'm not saying any other streamer that is doing that or should be doing that. But let's be honest. The only bad attention you get is no attention at all. So, but we'll just throw that out there. So let's see if I can. This is a bit that gets me. While the chat was going on, he has more than 90% of the people in his chat. Yet he still felt like it was okay to cheat during a 100K tournament. Sure, he didn't win the whole thing, but he did screw over the opponent who might have had a chance. The amount of people willing to die on that hill for him, saying it was just a game, is actually. But it is just a game. Look, I don't know how much money they would have. It's $100,000 tournament, but how much of that actually of that 100,000 actually goes to them, or is it split? Because I know there's some charity tournaments where it's 100,000, but you're winning that 100,000 because you're then signing it off to the charity, or you're giving a portion of that earnings to the charity. You're not keeping a whole. And maybe this was one where they were actually keeping 100,000. I don't know. You'd have to fill me in on that. I honestly don't know. A lot of these charity tournaments, they're actually already paid beforehand to be in it, and it's because they know it's going to bring eyes to the product, and it might bring more people donating in, and and I don't know if they actually win the actual 100,000. There are tournaments where you do win those with like the Warzone stuff. I understand like that, but with this charity, I don't know if they actually win at 100,000. So I can't speak to that. He actually kept somebody from getting 100,000 because I honestly I don't know. He will never admit to using the engine because then it's premeditated, even though it's impossible. I mean, okay, so we're just getting more into that. Lupo should get the same consideration he gave to Dr. Disrespect. Again, different aspects here. Lupo cheated at a chess game. Dr. Disrespect cheated on his wife, and at that same time he cheated on his wife was texting a minor. There are so many different levels than cheating at a game of online chess. Talked all that shit, then does this full of shit. Exactly. Dude is out here casting stone. Now let Zelander, Tim, and Nick. Okay, so again, these individuals are defending a guy that cheated on his wife, and at the same time he was cheating on his wife, he was texting a minor, and are somehow trying to equate that to Lupo cheating at a game of chess. That is nuts. That's nothing on the same level of this. If you want to talk about character issues, yeah, on the same level. But ethic-wise, what Dr. Disrespect did is in an entire another league than what Lupo did with cheating in a chess game. So just more and more people, Dr. Disrespect fans, going to eat good on this. Why? Why are you going to eat good on this? Their fans are following a guy that admitted to texting an underage minor. Why? But where I don't understand. Again, this is an individual that would not say this in public in a group of people because he'd probably get his ass kicked. That's a dipshit. Nathan is a dipshit. Mike Tyson, famous thing. Everyone's all big and bold on Twitter, but the minute they get in public and get punched in their mouth, it's a different person. The majority of these people have never been punched in the mouth, and they're never going to say these things in public because they are chicken shit. That is what it is. I saw Asmongold. I just want to watch a little bit about this. See what he says.
Speaking of,
not that I know there's a lot of people that are for or against this guy. I've only seen a few things about him. I don't know too much about Asmon. I know he used to live in a shithole. I don't know if he still does. But let's see what this weird bearded hippie had to say.
impersonation and cheating, I saw, this was kind of funny to me, Dr. Lupo. Bro, this guy? Oh my god. Okay, all right. We gotta... This is the most embarrassing fucking shit that I've seen. Is a dirty cheater. Yeah, he's a lying ass bitch. So what he was lying about is that it turns out that somebody did an investigation into this, and not only is he not a doctor, but he also cheats at chess. So Dr. Lupo recently was in a chess tournament called Pog Champs. Now this has been going on for years. I'm not really a big chess fan. I mean, I like who doesn't like chess? Like I think it's a nice game, but it's just not something that's particularly interesting to me, right? That's just the way I am. And so anyway, Dr. Lupo, of course, is in this event because he's one of the good boys. Well, that's what they thought. Anyway, so Dr. Lupo, of course, cheated. Absolutely cheated. And so anyway, how did people find out that he was cheating? Let me go back. I'm going to see if I can find this real quick and get it all put up here. Okay, and so Dr. Lupo blatantly cheats in PogChamp's 100K prize pool by playing every single engine move after hanging his queen. So an engine, so just so you guys can understand and make everybody saw you. And you had to own up to it. You didn't own up to it. You got owned and you acknowledged it. That's it. What are you talking about owning up to it? What the fuck is this?
Engine or not. So when I posted on Twitter about it, that at that point I come clean, and whether you believe that or not, that's fine.
So okay, so this is the we gotta get this any farther. And so anyway, he went, actually let me finish this.
Ultimately, the moves I'm assuming then came from a cheat engine, because if they were 26 perfect, yeah.
Jeez, where did I? Oh, wow. I guess who installed this on my computer? I guess it's my chat. And so, jeez, dude, like what could it be?
So it had to be sourced from that.
Yeah, it had to be sourced. Yeah, I bet it was. Yeah, it's just.
What do you plan to do as a content creator to remedy this aside from therapy you mentioned? As a content creator, well, I genuinely apologize, and will continue to do that because I am sorry, and I'll take care of myself off stream because that's part of me, man.
I don't know why you can't just be like, yeah, guys, I had an ego about it. I was a roach. I cheated. It's embarrassing. It's cringe. My bad. Yeah, sorry. Oops. You know, why can't you just do that, right? And because no, it's ego. It is. He's ego maxing. See, chess is one of those games. See, same with trivia. So that's the reason why people cheat. Same with.
Allow me to change that.
Oh.
I've had it in sub-only mode on YouTube for forever, but it is off now. Fire away.
Uh-oh. This guy says weirdo. Baba Booey. It's clear as a glass of water. You broke my heart. Oh, man. Is out here saying a disgruntled ex-girlfriend? I mean, look, bro, like, if you roll out a fucking bot to cheat and... Dude, can you...
Yes, he's just going off on...
So he says, regarding the chess, the tournament, the PogChamp tournament, I had a ton of fun playing. I decided to drop out of the event to help maintain competitive integrity for those involved. I decided to drop out. You decided to drop out because you were caught cheating. You were caught cheating in a tournament for $100,000. Blatantly.
I see here that Lupo's responding to again. I would have just turned comments off on this if I was Lupo. I would have put it out there. I would have just turned comments off. There's no need to put yourself through that. I mean, you got caught cheating. It is what it is.
Caught in a fight or flight moment and panicked and doubled down.
Tasman always like do the eyebrow thing. Who's the actor that does that? That English actor that always acts with his eyebrows?
The reason I'm saying this stuff is not because I'm like, I don't want sympathy. I don't need that. Actually, if anything, I told mods to not censor anything in chats today because
sorry about the volume.
I mean, I deserve it. I do. I absolutely deserve it. I fucked up. I fucked up and hurt people that were probably pretty excited to have a big creator in their space.
I'm sure they really appreciate you being there.
So I've seen like some people in Asmon's chat, they're bringing up the whole again, this stuff always becomes political because Lupo, I mean, he's called Nick Merckx out on some of his language and talks on the alphabet community and whatnot. And I think a lot of Lupo's friends are more left leaning individuals. So you have a lot of people saying, liberal tears and woke and all this, and who is so stupid to make it political. Cheating is cheating is cheating. Everybody on both sides of the line do it. The excuse is what really shows the character of the individual as far as why or how or what the psychology was behind it. But yeah, this is what I'll say to anybody is if you're seriously upset about this, you need to get a life. This will be my summary. These are individuals that the majority of them are already multimillionaires. They're better off in life. They're making money. And if you want to fall behind that guise, the Wizard of Oz, and not pay attention to what's going on behind the curtain, then when things like this happen, you completely flip your shit and lose your mind. Now, a lot of these people that respond to these are just trolls, man. They're just people that want to troll. That's the majority of what social media is. It's just straight up trolls. That people that just want to argue to make themselves feel better. about how they feel about life or a situation in general. Um, get to a healthy aspect to where you understand that these individuals are just here to entertain you. You might agree with some of the stuff they say, you might disagree. You might agree with the games they play, you might disagree. But put it on the level to where it as they're just here to entertain you. They are not a part of your life. They are not in your life. No matter what they say, we're a family, we're a community. It is not true. It is not true because at some point, either you're going to get tired of it and you're not going to watch it or care for it anymore, or they're going to do something, cheat, um, say something outrageously reprehensible in their own world. Uh, hell, possibly kill somebody. Who knows? And the reaction to that, you can't let it. You have to be more emotionally stable. That's what I'm going to say in these circumstances. If you are so fixated on an individual that what they do, how they act, how they handle things affects you emotionally, you need to back away from that situation. Again, I don't hate Dr. Lupo. I don't care that he cheated in this. I honestly don't. I think the bigger brush fire is what the reaction is. Because honestly, if this would have been a different time period, nobody would care. And then again, and in a week, nobody's going to give a shit. Some other, scandal or something's coming up. We as individuals have to be better about how and what we're consuming as far as content is. Um, and understanding, and I get the younger generation doesn't have that experience of it. Charles Barkley said it best. When somebody asked him about being a role model, he said he is not a role model. Kids should not look up to him. Do not handle or hold these people as role models. You can be happy for the good things they do, like what he does for the charity groups as far as St. Jude and this or that. But at the same time, these people are multimillionaires who are still accepting money from you, hardworking individuals who are putting money in the situation, and they're okay with it. They're perfectly fine with it. They use that to keep the lights on while they keep their bank loaded. If you are fine with giving your money away, then do it. Otherwise, just be a member for them, talk in their chat, but also understand that something down the line could come up that will completely blow the top off, and you have to be okay with walking away from it. Not just him, but everybody mentally and psychologically has to be better. But on that note, man, hey, everybody find that good earth and dig it and get your butt outside and enjoy the world, man. Social media and all this stuff is not the real world, all right? All right, dig it later.